when you're on Hinge
Yep.
and you match with someone, you go out on a couple of dates, you quite like them, you're like, okay. And then you go onto their Hinge profile to show like your friend their profile and you notice they've updated something on it.
Okay.
So then you're like,
Yep.
okay. So like I was discussing this with one of my friends because it does happen quite often. And so I'm like, is it because they're being insecure and they feel like they need to see what else is there and they want to keep everything quite open? Or like from the girl's perspective, I mean, it works both ways. Does that mean this guy thinks there might be something better and he wants to continue looking? Like at what stage? Because for me, if I've matched with someone and I've been on a couple of dates, I'm not going to be updating my Hinge profile for them to see that I've updated my Hinge profile, potentially looking for someone else.
Right. I mean, that's assuming that they're going to be looking at your Hinge profile. I get it.
Yeah. But if they did and they saw it, then, you know.
Yeah, they know that you could potentially see it.
Yeah.
I understand that. It's not insecure. It's just if you've gone a couple of dates, neither of you are exclusive to each other.
Yeah.
So you're available to date other people if you want.
Yeah.
And he might have updated it because maybe he likes you, but he doesn't know if you like him.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you have the same values, whether you're compatible. You don't know all of that within the first few dates.
Yeah.
So it could be, oh, I really like her, but I don't know if this is going to go well or not.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay open to other options if other options come.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's insecurity. It's just, and I always say this, until you've had the conversation that you're exclusive, he's most likely open to dating other people.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So if after you've been on a couple of dates with a guy, if another guy that you like the look of and you met on a different night and you vibe with him, if he asked you out, would you be like, nah, sorry, I'm taken?
I wouldn't say I was taken. I would consider it. But the thing is, I find it difficult to like split where I am, like, and I only have limited time and I'm busy like working on myself and my business. So then if I'm on a date with one guy and the confusion that comes with that, and I know like the girls even say like you should have at least 3 in rotation at one time, and I'm like, I can't do that, like that my brain cannot handle that. And I tried it once and I got caught.
Oh, tell us that story.
Oh my gosh. So I went on a date with this guy. No, so I was dating, this was just after COVID.
Yeah.
And I was dating like a few times a week because at that point in time I was actively dating and I was like, I want to meet someone. And I'd been on a date with one guy, say on the Wednesday, and we just went for a walk in Battersea Park, got on really well with him. I was like, he's quite nice. I'd like to see him again. But then like the next week I went for a coffee with this other guy and I was like, oh, I quite like this guy too. And then I was a bit confused. And then I went on a second date with this one I went for the coffee with. I had a really good date with him, really liked him, but I'd already planned a second date with the other one. So I was like, I need to go. I just need to see. So I went, and it was kind of during when it was still a bit not lockdown, but it was just opening back up. So it was very quiet.
Yes.
And I went to Borough Market with this guy. We had dinner, and then we were like walking around. He was holding my hand.
Second date?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And the next day I was going for brunch with the other guy.
Okay.
So
you didn't go home with it. You didn't go home with him that night.
I did not go home with him. I went back to my own bed, and the next day I get up, I go to pick up this other guy, and we go for brunch, and he was like, what were you up to last night? And I was like, oh, just, went to Borough Market with a few like work people, blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to say I'd been on a date.
I get it.
Because I actually quite liked this one.
Of course.
And I'd made the decision on that night that I didn't like the other one that was holding my hand.
Right.
So, go for brunch with him, and he was like, oh, okay. I was like, what were you up to? He's like, oh, I was in Borough Market. And I was like, oh, but he never said anything. But then we went for brunch, it was good. And then he started getting a bit weird.
Yeah.
And we're actually kind of friends now and have actually spoken to it since. And he was like, no, I never saw you, but I know what you're going to say. And I don't know if he did see me, but I feel like I got caught. Like, Borough Market was so quiet. There's no way he would not have seen me walking around holding this guy's hand.
So didn't you ask him? So you didn't see him?
I asked him like a year later.
Right. So what happened after that second date?
He just kind of stopped talking, and then he was like, oh, I think I'm going to get back with my ex. But there was no ex, because he told me a year later there was no ex. So I think he just freaked out.
Yeah, it sounds like he saw you.
Doesn't it?
Sounds like he saw you. He probably saw you, yeah. And the thing is, I mean, anyone today, like, I don't want to say this is how the game is played, but this is how the game is played. Like, you know, if you go on 2 dates with someone, they may still go on dates with other people. That comes with it. Is it awkward and not nice if you see them on a date with someone else? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But sometimes that comes with it. And yeah, if you're going to be someone, if you're going to date multiple people, that's the risk that you take.
What would you do in that situation, though?
If I was the guy or the girl?
If you were a guy and you saw the girl that you'd been on 2 dates with, you quite liked her, and you saw her like holding someone else's hand. How would you feel and how would you behave in that situation?
Well, if I saw, the holding hand thing.
Yeah.
That's different than date because that makes you look like an item.
Right, okay.
So I would have been like, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, what'd you get up to last night? Mm-hmm. And you'd be like, oh, there with my friends. I'd be like, okay. I'm like, so you weren't there with a guy then?
You would have asked straight.
100%. What? Yeah, 100%. Because if you're you might be in a relationship and I don't know.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're single and you're in a relationship. So I'd want to know. So I'd be like, okay. Because when you're holding, like I said, when you said holding, he was holding your hand on the second date, that feels quite quick. Most people start holding hands a couple of months in. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like at least a few weeks in, they've spent way more time.
Yeah.
So it would have looked to me like you were a lot further on to the point that maybe you probably wouldn't be seeing other people.
Right.
So I'd be like, are you in a relationship? If you're like, no, I'd be like, okay, but I saw you holding this guy's hand. Like, what's that about? And then so I would have asked you.
You would have asked, but then if my response was, it was a second date, but I don't like him.
Yeah.
Would you believe me or would you be like, would that cause a trust issue there? I
wouldn't not believe you, but I would be cautious.
Okay, cool.
So I wouldn't decide, I wouldn't have made the decision on whether I fully believe you or not.
Okay.
Because I don't know you that well.
You don't know, yeah.
And so I'd have been like, it wouldn't have been a write-off because I'd been like, she might be telling the truth. And if I got to know you and stuff, I'd be like, okay, that probably was that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I probably would have made a joke. I'd have been like, well, you know, he was wearing whack trainers anyway. So. Do you know what I mean? I would have made some witty joke just to take the piss.
Laughed it off.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But if he saw you holding hands, he might have thought you were in something deeper.
Yeah.
Especially if, for example, because was that your second date or your third date with him?
Second date with him.
Second date. Did you kiss on the first date?
Which one?
So the guy who you said is now like kind of a friend who did.
So I kissed him on a second date because it was a coffee the first date, so it's not really like a kissing situation. But we went for like wine and drinks on the second date, and we did kiss on the second date.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was saying if he was like trying to be intimate with you, and you weren't doing that, and then he saw you being affectionate with another guy, I might be like, oh well, that's actually the guy you really want.
Yeah.
And you're just using me for my attention. Because sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
But you're still friends now. That's
we
really
speak
interesting.
now and again. He's got a new girlfriend now, so we're not like besties, but we had been out for like lunch and stuff.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.